Hello traders, it's Samurai Trader here. Welcome to session 165. In today's session I'm going to be recapping my live trades and actually playing back a recording of the live trades taken on the 2-tick ES. Now I've just been trading the 1-tick. Now when I trade the 1-tick, I only have a maximum of a 6-tick stop, and when I trade the 2-tick I have a maximum of a 10-tick stop. But I also then have different targets. That is, when I'm trading the 1-tick, I'm targeting $200 a day per contract, where on the 2-tick $325. Why the difference? Because I've got greater amount of capital tied up. That is, the larger of a time frame or the higher of a time frame I'm trading means I've got a larger stop loss. So just a little rule I have, something that I run with. I'm also a big one on POQ, the power of quitting, hitting a target and then finishing for the day. So out of this session here, and as you can see, it was just and I have recorded this. I'll do a video on this some other time. I've got dozens, I just don't have time to record them all. That is to give a summary on them all. So you can see we're live right here. So that was look, I had a reversal trade here. Now I recommend that all new traders don't take reversal trades. Stick with trend trading. You had a nice one there, had one here, you had one here, and even you had a really nice one there. Now these are all patterns that I look for. The advantage of trading with patterns is they can be very rules-based, which makes trading a lot easier. These T3s, you can see there, I mark up had a T3 there. I actually had I think I had a small loss there. I wasn't quite sure, but I think it's a small loss. I didn't add up all the figures. It doesn't really matter. The point is I got out a bit late there. Then I had a really nice T3 up here. Now that was, and I want you to notice here that I was bouncing off yesterday's high and the current day's high, and there's a pivot, the R2 Camarilla pivot straight above. Now if you're not familiar with pivots, don't worry about it. They're very easy to learn how to trade them. And a T3 is like it's a very rules-based mechanical setup. It's like an elastic band being stretched and then you let it go, and you nearly always get a bounce off a 34 EMA. So that was a very nice little trading session just there, but that's not what today's video is about. So today's video, I've just got to bring up the disclaimers. I mentioned that session 165, what I teach in these sessions you can apply to futures, forex or stocks. It doesn't really matter. Now my target on average nowadays is 2,000 a day, and of course depending on the amount of capital, but I'll show you how you can build your capital sensibly, fairly safely, in a short period of time. That is, I believe in using the market's money. Now let me show you that in a moment. So in today's session we're trading the 2-tick ES. So I'm going to be showing you, playing back the recording of this session. I marked down here I had 6 trades for 6 wins, and you'll see me execute these trades, and it may have even been 7, but I think on the charts I marked 7, but I actually executed 2 trades accidentally. That is, I went short and there was a slight delay on my ATM on my trading DOM, and so I clicked again, and I actually was short, I think it is, and we'll see that in a minute twice. So that would have made it 7. But anyway, as always, I do have to pull up the disclaimer. There is a risk in trading. Please don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. Stay on the simulator until you're consistently profitable. Now we can see here so I was up 2,800. Now normally I'm after my 2,000, but then I had this or 200 a day, which I'm trading 10 lots, which is 2,000. But then I had this really nice T3, and for members watching this, when you got a T3 pivot bounce, and this is true for divergence trades as well, when you have a divergence trade or a T3, a reversion to the mean, and it's bouncing off a pivot or multiple pivots, it's what we call a loaded trade. You see, pivot trading, trading into pivots or trading off pivots, they're a self-fulfilling prophecy, because professional traders like myself, we trade into pivots and we trade off the pivots. we trade, I call them pivot bounces, and they work really well. Now with today's session, we're actually going to be looking at and I had a couple of different figures there. I actually had some, then I kept trading. So my goal here initially, traders, was 325 per contract, as I mentioned, but the market was trending really well. Now I've got the live recording of these trades which I'm going to run through in a moment. So we had some really straightforward trades, and I'll explain this one when we get to the charts in a moment. So I hit my target, but then I saw a couple of others and I jumped in. I then and that's where I double tapped, okay, just here. So it's still worked out mighty fine. Look at the trend at this stage. We can see our major EMAs are in a trend. Now what I want you to notice is the white paint bars and the black arrows, or the white arrows, for longs. So I've got definite signals that are telling me when to enter the trade, and I know in advance when to enter these. However, it's not a black box. It's all based upon logic and trading with the trend, or if I've got a counter trend trade, or what I call T3s, very set rules, which makes trading a hell of a lot easier. Now I'd actually wrapped it up, but then further along I had this setup. I'd rolled over, and that would have been another great example there of a T3. I'm bouncing off the pivot. I then came down, and then I broke these major EMAs, and unfortunately I was really fixed on this lower pivot, yesterday's low, and I missed it by a tick or two. I got out of that exactly break even. They just point to 1 tick per contract. Now what I should have done is lock some profit in. You see, it's very easy to become fixated. It's going to hit the pivot, it's going to hit the pivot, but sometimes it doesn't. You see, pivots, and I call yesterday's high, the current day's low, etc. I call all of those pivots. They're the same thing. They give you resistance or support usually, but they're a zone. Okay, so there, you know, like here you can see we first tapped on this pivot, but then we punched through. Down here I missed it by a couple of ticks. Okay, so that is trading. So let me give you a quick advertisement. Then we're going to go, and I'll play back the recording and explain the setups in detail. First of all, if you haven't already downloaded my ebook, The Truth About Day Trading, please do in the description link below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, so that way you can be kept up to date with all of my latest videos. Better still, come and join me as a member. For $297 you get over 200 hours of online training. Now relax, you don't have to watch all of them, and there's probably over 300 hours now. I keep adding to it. I've got 15 setups that I trade. 2 of them are extremely high probability, and I teach all new traders these 2 specific setups. Easy to learn, trend following, very high probability. However, over time, just like a tradesman has a toolbox with different tools for different jobs, I have different setups, such as a T3, such as a 2D, a double divergence, such as some of a T10, which is a confirmation of a reversal. All of these are great setups, but you can add those as you go along. So for $297 you'll get those, and very quickly there's a very comprehensive members area. By the way, when you join, make sure you watch the welcome video, because from there I'm going to guide you where to go. It's probably one of the most comprehensive members sites for scalpers and day traders. I'm a scalper. I like to get in, get out, get paid. It also lowers my risk, because like when I'm trading the 1 tick Renko, I've only got a 6 tick stop, and by the way, you can't trade the 1 tick during the New York hours. Okay, it's far too fast. Now at the moment we're in the middle of the Iranian war, bit of a truce at the moment, but the last, what was it, 2 weeks ago, for about 3 or 4 weeks there, it was impossible to trade the 1 tick. You had to trade what I'm about to show you for 2 tick. So if you're watching this and you're an experienced trader, we trade the tick time of the chart time frame. We trade is subject to the speed of the market. Now also, we don't want to jump from one time frame to another, but you've got a very comprehensive area. Also, I run a live trading room. I have 200, and this is as April 2026. I've got 294 traders around the world come in and watch me, and I've got 315 attend my twice a week coaching sessions. And so as a special, I'm also going to throw a month of coaching sessions in, so you can attend 8 of my live 2-hour sessions are recorded, where I'm teaching you step by step in explaining in great detail my money management rules, where to enter the trade, where to exit the trade, when to exit early, and what to avoid, which are the best markets to trade, etc. So I cover all of that. That's a bonus, and you're not signing up from automatic renewal. If you wish to continue after that, it's $197 a month. I do run annual specials, but that's optional. You've got to email me and say, Ray, I want to keep going. You can see there I've got hundreds of traders do that. They do that for a reason, okay? Because it's what I offer is incredible value. Let's finish this. And one thing in the coaching sessions, you also have, I've been running these for years now, you've also got individual handouts in each 2-hour session. Once again, I'm walking you through step by step how to scalp and day trade the market. Now, I'll be quick on this. My philosophy is to get in, get out, get paid. And this movie Moneyball from 2011 really says it all. It's you really need to watch the movie and read, go and Google it, and read what the concept is all about, rather than going for the home runs, rather than going for 20, 40, 50 ticks. I'm only after, on average, 6 to 12 ticks per trade, but I get them frequently, so I can get in, get out, get paid. And as I mentioned, I really like POQ. I have a target, I hit that target, I might squeeze another golden trading if I can, but I'm after the best of the best. And doing that, traders, you can write your own ticket. For an example, traders at the moment, so why trade the ES? Because after hours, which is what, sorry about that, which is what the Globex session is, that is, the market closes for an hour from 5 p.m. Eastern to 6 p.m., reopens at 6 p.m. I'm recording this, by the way, at 1:48 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's nearly 5 p.m. my time down under. We've got fantastic volume on the ES, so you can trade it basically 23 hours a day. Now we can also trade oil. There's the NQ. You've got micros. I could spend 2 hours just talking to you about the different markets to trade, but at the moment the ES is just trending beautifully. Okay, there's some great trades there. Now here's the rub. To trade this market, and my job as your coach is to teach you how to trade professionally. Traders, we are risk managers. We are funds managers. Whether you're trading for a prop firm, which many of my clients are, or you're trading your own funds, risk mitigation is critical. So you need to have to trade up to a 10 tick stop. We never ever risk more than 2% of our capital. Now if you're a very experienced trader and profitable, okay, you might risk more, you might be happy with that. But if you're new or trading hasn't been good to you up till now, follow the money management rules. Break them, you'll blow your account. Now what this means is you need up to $6,250 if you're trading the big contract, or the beautiful part about it is you can start on a micro. The other option is start with a prop firm. If you start on the micro, and let me show you this, and here, start with the micro, you only need 26 micros a day, ticks a day, net after commissions and losses. Each tick is worth $1.25 on the micro, or $12.50 on the big contract. You average $32 a day. That's only 4 to 5 net trades a day, scalps a day, and in 12 weeks potentially, legally I've got to say that, you've got basically 7,500. You can roll over now and start trading the big contract. Now, as you're about to see how I do it, for 7 tick trades a day, which is scalps, will give you 330 a day. Here we're up to 325. Look where you are in 10 weeks at $10,000 a week potential income, and for the young guns here within 13 weeks at $20,000 a week income. This is a reality. Now here you ask the right questions. So if you ask the right question, that's half the answer. The question is how, and that's what I'm about to show you. Now also for the young guns, what if you went for 500 a day? That's 6 8 tick trades a day, or 7 tick trades a day. Within 6 weeks you're on your 12 grand a week and 25,000 a week in 8 weeks. That's the true potential of this market. So let me get down here, and let's now, the question is now, how do you achieve that? Let's go to the recording. So, and just I just want to show you this before we get underway, because whoops, sorry, just got some, what's happening here, got a bit of delay there. Just let me just get rid of that, come over here for a moment, just minimize this for a minute, and I just want you to remember what this looks like. Now see how we're in chop right now, and the reason being, we get this sideways price action. We're 9 minutes from the London Open. Okay, we don't want to ever be trading flat major EMAs. We want to be looking for bounces off trending EMAs. Now of course there's more rules, such as see how we had pivot bounces. Now this is off, what was that, yesterday's low or yesterday's high, and once you learn how to trade them, and within about 2 hours I can have you really understanding how to trade these, you get bounces off them day in day out. Now this is the 1 tick. Each one of these little bricks here is worth $12.50, by the way. Now Renko actually means brick, but you can trade using tick charts, which I trade with as well. Renko charts, range, it really doesn't matter, but I wanted to show you that there now, because just maybe we may still be on this recording when we get the London Open, and that's where sometimes, or quite often, you need to jump up to your 2 tick. So let's have a look at this, and this goes for 10 minutes, so some of it I'll skip through. This trade, by the way, I call it a T10, and for members watching, it's basically almost a T2 really. You'll hear me talk quote like a T3, a reversion to the mean. Rather than saying a reversion to the mean, I just say it's a T3 or a 2D, which means a double divergence, etc. So this is actual market speed, you can see there. Oh, and there you go. So on this particular day, this is the London Open. So this was on, you may not be able to see down there on the recording, but that's at 2:05. Look, and we get this action for the first probably 3 or 4 hours after the market opens for the Globex. Then it'll slow down for a couple of hours, then it picks right back up again. Now usually what I'm looking for now, see this low I've got, I'm looking for a retracement. So I'm out of this trade once again. Get in, get out, get paid. Could you trail here? Absolutely. I prefer fixed targets. That works for me and my personality. Now I'd be now preparing for another short. Now I could get a short anywhere up here. Note here I've got a lower low, and am I going to get a short up here somewhere? So we're just patiently waiting. Sorry traders, just someone just rocked up at my home, one of the kids. So just here we've got a potential setup. Now I'm now short here, and here I've got a maximum of a 10 tick stop with a 10 tick target. So I think it's 10 ticks thereabouts. And I should just explain that if the market's slow, traders, I'll go for 8 ticks in a move. So you can see the speed of the market there. If the market's brisk, I'll usually go for 10 ticks in a move, and that's on the 2 tick Renko chart. The huge advantage you have with a Renko chart is the patterns are very easy to identify. Now you do lose some information, and that's the benefit of trading a time-based chart. Now did you see there, this is a pivot magnet trade, by the way. See how down here I've got pivots, I've got a couple of pivots there, I've got the current day's low, etc. Note my stop is one tick above the swing, and I'm targeting the low just here. Oh, that's right. So it's just saying, if you've got a tick chart or a time-based chart, you will, like these little Renko tails, you'll get additional entries. However, and you can see there, by the way, I've gone to break even. Sometimes I'll actually take my stop back up. So in the ATM, I automatically go to break even at either 6 or 8 ticks, depending on my target. And that is where I want to make sure, wherever possible, and I've paused my video there, and let me just explain this one here. So I usually like to see my stop one tick above, but if I use a market order and I get slippage, I'll generally just run with the where my ATM puts my stop. Now this can be a really tricky spot for traders. Now I call this a bet the farm trade. It's a bit of tongue-in-cheek. We never bet the farm, we always follow our money management rules, but it's a very high probability setup. So a bet the farm traders is where I have a deeper retracement, and quite often you get a retracement back to these major EMAs, and you then get an ABC, or you get a reversal. That is, you might get a bit of a bounce, then it takes off. So this is where quite often then I'll wait for divergence back in the direction of the trend. Now just looking at, sorry, the markets over there on other screens. And by the way, how many screens do I recommend you have? A minimum of 2. I have 6 screens, but I recommend a minimum of 2. And as a new trader, if you're a new trader, you want to stick to one, but really focus on one market initially. Now even a quiet market, I'll have 2 markets up, but I've also been scalping and day trading for 28 years now, so I've got a wee bit of experience here and a lot of hours under my belt. Don't rush the process, traders. It ain't rocket science, but you've got to treat it as an internship. So I am short here now. Also I'm only filled here on 3 contracts, which happens sometimes. I use limit orders, which means I want to get in at a specific price or better. I'm not generally using market orders unless I've got a really good setup and it's moving and I want to take it, and usually if I'm using a market order, it's with the trend. So just here I'm only filled on 3 contracts. I was thinking also, I'm surprised, yep, so I pulled my stop up here to exit to get out of this trade because I've only been filled on 3. Call it suspicion, but if I'm only filled on 3, I don't like to wait, or filled on, I'm trading 10 lots here. I don't like to wait for the market to retrace. If it starts to retrace, it shouldn't be doing it. I want to see it continue, not retrace. So usually I'll just cut my trade. So let's just move along here. Okay, now I've already mentioned when I'm trading, so this is March of 26 here on this one, as you can see, and it's probably there the whole time. And just to show you this, if I can show you this, I have literally dozens of videos here that I haven't even had a chance to record. I've just got that many traders, so I'm always playing catch up. And by the way, this the live one today, yes, I have and see the pivot bounce again off yesterday's high. They're like clockwork, they're reliable, but very few traders trade them. Now back on the recording. Okay, so I think this might be the double tap, and I think it was just here. So in a really fast moving market, if you're looking at your columns on your ATM and you execute a trade, usually I'll put a limit order in, as I mentioned, and if it doesn't appear, sometimes you'll do it, I might click again. It doesn't happen very often, but it's usually in a really fast moving market. Your computer's trying to keep up with everything. So I'm short. I'm also my stop is a tick above the little swing low here, and this is an area where normally I would not add to a position, by the way. I would over here where if I got a good bet the farm, but I'll add to a position, that is sell again if I'm already in the green, in the money. But here that was a mistake. Now that's important, traders. As a trading coach, when I'm trading, if I make a mistake, I'll tell my members about it, because it's important you understand the good, the bad, and the ugly. That is, I call it black box thinking. We look back on our trades. What can I learn from them? What will I do differently? Okay, so here let's just move this along here, and down we go. I'm already at break even, and I'm out of that trade at break even, exactly break even. Now what I was actually 1 to 2 ticks. Now the reason I exited that, because I double tapped and I wasn't 100% happy with this particular setup. So let's just move this along. That's another potential short potentially coming up. Now what you'll see me do quite often is put an order in. So I'm just watching the markets over here on another screen, watching oil actually. Now see that there, let me go back a sec there. What am I doing? See how I'm putting an order in advance. What I'm looking at here is my anchor chart. So I'm trading in the direction of a higher time frame. So I'm looking for a pullback and then a continuation. And so what that enables me to do, I have a very specific rule that then tells me when to enter the trade, and it makes it so much easier. And you'll learn that in 5 minutes, what I use, particularly if you're using NinjaTrader. Now to say this also, here we are. Here I'm saying I sold 2 lot. That was a mistake, and I tell you exactly how and why I did that. If you don't have NinjaTrader, I've got most of my indicators coded for TradeStation, but I give you the indicator settings so you can replicate what I've got here on any good trading platform. So if you're not using NinjaTrader, sorry, my phone might be about to beep, I give you the settings so you can do exactly the same thing. Now let's just move this along a little, because I know this turns in. Now look where my target is. I'm just above the swing low, or actually not the swing low, but the pivot. Oh, look at that go. That's the speed of the market at that time. That's how, this is real time speed, and this is why I mentioned that. And once again, we'll look at the 1 tick again in a moment. Quite often we've got to trade, we've got to jump from the 1 tick up to the 2 tick. So there we ended up with 5257 by the time we had all of those. And then if I remember correctly, no, that's right, I did, I then fired off a little further along, which you can't see, which I didn't record, this last trade, and unfortunately that turned out to be a break even. Usually these breakdowns are really good, and I was targeting the pivot. I got a bit greedy just there. Still worked out that picked up a couple of dollars out of it, but could have done better. Let's now just have a quick look at where we are price action now. Okay, so the market is opened 4 minutes ago. Not a whole lot is happening right now, as we can see. So here was the open, by the way. Now that within itself is actually a trade. This is one of these reversion to the means. I call them T3 setups. There's a very specific rule for this, easy to do, and you apply the same rule to any time frame you're trading. Okay, so here this is a danger zone. Now we are probably about, for members watching, about to get a T10 short, but when you've got very flat EMAs, we've just got to sit back and wait. Now you can trade your T10s, which helps identify a potential reversal. However, if you want to really be a lot more secure, a lot more safer with your trading, oops, back here, that was your T10, by the way, just there, just there, that little hook. So, and just see this low down here. So your swing lows also make excellent targets along with pivots, and you'll see me do this quite regularly. So what I can see up here is the high of day, the current day's high, yesterday's high, and I've got a major pivot. Once again, pivots make excellent targets. Now each one of these little moves is worth either $1.25 on the micro contract or $12.50 on the big contract. Now if you're trading the one tick, which is still tradable, 1 2 3 4 5 6, basically you've 1 2 3 4 5, okay, you've touched 7, so that's okay. Because what I was about to say is if ever you're doing any back testing on a strategy, you don't, and say if you're after 7 ticks, which that touched, you've got to assume you didn't get filled, because when we scalp and day trade them, you want to see you and look at that there, virtually you're 1 tick off that swing. You've got to assume you didn't get filled. Remember, we're in a lineup of other traders trading. Okay, now up here, this is where normally we'd be looking for another short, just up here. And where's our target? Potentially back down to the pivot. So traders, I've covered a lot in this session, and once again, for $297 you receive and by the way, you have lifetime access to the members area, and any enhancements, any new improvements I have, we've got ideas from and by the way, some of our members, the full-time pro traders, they send in some brilliant strategies and ideas as well, which once I confirm them they work, I then put them into the members area. So you've got all of these, but don't feel overwhelmed, traders, when you look at that. Pace yourself. It ain't rocket science. It's about learning the patterns. So I'm just going to quickly check that. Okay, so just here, and let me just go back. So $297. Come and join me, come into my sessions and look at this setup just here. Now see this one just here, by the way, see the white dots? That's called a trend continuation setup. Now this little one just here, is it going to break this low and get down to the pivot? So normally speaking, this would be a very high probability trade. You can see I've got the EMAs are fanning, so we're on the way down. Now one thing we haven't done is check the news, by the way. Don't forget to do that, traders. So each and every day there are 2 key sites that I use, and I'm just going to pull them up and show you these. This is a fatal mistake that so many traders make, is these can be account killers. For an example, today in the US, Thursday, May the 14th, we've got a number of what we call red flags at 8:30, and I use 𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺. I also use Forex Factory. Now even though I no longer trade Forex, I just stick with the futures, but Forex I love too. You can only trade so many markets, by the way. Traders will quite often say, why don't you trade gold, which I do sometimes, or why don't you trade silver? You can only trade really a couple of things at once. Okay, and if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? So down here we can see, what do we got here? Down for Thursday we've got the core retail sales. Is it Thursday tomorrow? Yes it is. Okay, just got to think, being down under in Australia, sometimes I get a wee bit confused. Now we got stopped out of that trade, and now we've just picked that up again just there. So you had a nice little winner there, we were stopped there, and this is a nice little winner here going down to the pivot. Now traders, this is where, sorry about the phone there, this is where traders, you've got to learn to think and trade in probabilities of 20. The individual trade means nothing, is by looking, and that's why we never risk any more than 2%. Now I don't risk any more than 1%, and the reason being that allows me to add to a position, and I never have any more open exposure than 2%. And I remember Larry Hite, the billionaire funds manager, he said, I think his words were, I never risk any more than 1%, because that way I can remain indifferent to the trade. He doesn't have to worry about the trade. And see how we came down and we've hit those. Now note the arrows and the white paint bars. They are 2 separate entry signals. And yes, I do have alerts, particularly on the arrow. So I've got an alert and it tells you I've had it coded for different markets, so you know which one to look at. But traders, bottom line is, come and join me. The spreadsheet here that I mentioned, this one here, where you can tailor your own trading plan, you can also download that as well, and there's a little training video. Better still, join me in my sessions. Thank you, traders. See you soon.